If there were 8 ideas that could transform your life, enriching you, blessing you, prospering you, helping you to be happier, would that be something you'd be interested in?
Yes.
Of course. Well, that's what the Beatitudes are. They were the beginning of the only recorded sermon of Jesus, known as the Sermon on the Mount. And he gave 8 attitudes, Beatitudes, which comes from the word beatific and the word blessed, which means happy. When you live these attitudes of being, they add to your happiness. And the word blessed comes from the word to confer prosperity upon, to enrich. When we live these ways of being, they bless us in many ways. And that's what the Beatitudes are all about. So we're going to look at these different attitudes. They're not rules. They're not rules that say this is how you need to live. No, Jesus came to talk about consciousness. That as we change our consciousness, then we can change our life. See, before Jesus came, the Hebrews had a lot of rules that they had to follow, some 600 rules that they had to live, believing that they had to live these rules in order for God to be pleased, in order for God to be happy. And I remember as a kid, I was raised Jewish. I went to Hebrew school the first 6 years of my life, and half a day was English and half a day was Hebrew. And my dad and our family, on Jewish holidays, we would often go spend it with the rabbi and his family. And there were certain things that you couldn't do on the Sabbath. You know, on Saturday you couldn't. You had to, this family, the food was already cooked ahead of time. You had to wash. You couldn't turn on the sink. They had pitchers with water, and you had to wash your hands a certain way. You weren't supposed to carry money. You weren't supposed to drive on the Sabbath. So we were kind of strange Jewish folks in my family. My dad drove to synagogue, the Orthodox synagogue, carried money, and we went to lunch afterwards. But anyway, there are a lot of rules to follow. And hey, that can be good. You know, doing repetitive stuff, getting yourself to do repetitive things for a sacred purpose, that can be a very positive thing. And Jesus was trying to point to people and say, look, it's not about rules to please this king up there in the sky, but rather to recognize your unity with this presence, to know it intimately, to have this connection, and to live in accordance with it. So that's why he gave us these 8 Beatitudes. When I was a freshman in college back in 1985, I remember being at my girlfriend at the time's home, and I was feeling kind of depressed at that time. It was tough. And I was there on a Sunday morning, and she and her parents and I they turned on this show. And it was The Hour of Power with Dr. Robert Schuller. How many of you know that show? Yeah, the late Robert Schuller. And he was smiling, and he was in his blue robe and his silver hair. And the odd thing about it was I recognized him. Because as a kid watching funnies, cartoons on a Sunday morning in my Jewish household, I would flip the channels, and every now and then you'd see this silver-haired man talking. I didn't know what he was talking about. So here he was again, many years later, and he's talking about his new book, The Be Happy Attitudes. Well, guess what they were about? the Beatitudes of Jesus. And a few days later, I was sick in bed, and my girlfriend showed up with 2 gifts. One was a book on relationships and communication. Wonder why she brought that book. Tells you how that relationship was going. I didn't read that one, but the other one was the Be Happy Attitudes. And man, did I devour that book. I loved it. Showed me that Jesus' teachings were practical, that they had something to do with life. And man, I wanted to be happy again. So, number 1, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Now, at first glance, you might say, what? The poor in spirit? This has been falsely understood to be blessed are the poor. Right? Some of you might have heard that growing up. Blessed are the poor. That God's going to reward you if you're broke. You know, somehow you're holy if you're broke or poor. That's not, he didn't say that. He said poor in spirit. Even that needs some explanation. Charles Fillmore said that it's a sin to be poor. Now, let's not go overboard and think, well, that means that I've got to be outwardly rich and, glamorous. No, he didn't mean that either. But rather, to be poor is to forget your connection with the source. Right? You can have very few things and be rich. Because you know your source. And you're carrying around your prosperity. You're recognizing your abundance. You know who your source is. Doesn't matter where you are, what's happening. You're living in accordance with that source. That's what Charles Fillmore meant. He meant knowing God is my source, and I have whatever I need when I need it. Remember, a lady came to me for counseling one day, and she was planning to be in New York for a little while. She was a haute couture designer of clothing. And we discussed her situation. She had come down and something fell through with a friend, and she couldn't stay where she had planned to stay. So now she's in New York City with no place to stay. And we talked, and we prayed and meditated, and one of the statements that she left with was the statement, I go forth in perfect faith in the power of omnipresent good to bring me what I need when I need it. And she went into New York City without a place to stay, knowing I go forth in perfect faith in the power of omnipresent good to bring me what I need at the time that I need it. And I got a message not long after. And she had been inspired by a story she read about a man who had taken God as his partner in his business, which was Lord and Taylor. I later learned that was a myth, but it inspired us at the time. And she called me up. She said, guess where I am? I don't know. Where are you, Kimberly? She said, I am on Park Avenue in my new apartment. And outside my window, what do you think I can see? Maybe I got the avenue wrong. Could be Fifth Avenue. She said, Lord and Taylor. Truly, God is my tailor. Poor in spirit is really, it's not about being broke. It's about being poor in a couple of things. By the way, we could spend a whole day talking about the Beatitudes, but we're not going to. We're going to spend 20, 30 minutes on it. Blessed are the poor in pride. The poor in pride. In other words, you are so full of knowledge and know-how and your way of doing it that there is no room for growth inside of you. You just know it all. I got it all together. You don't need to tell me what to do. I know. I'm going to do it my way and my way only. That's fine if it works. But if life keeps slapping us all around, we might want to have a little bit of receptivity and humility to learn something new, to grow. Right? Ultimately, it means to listen to spirit within. Emily Cady, who wrote How I Use Truth and Lessons in Truth, she said, stop reading so many books, which I didn't listen to her for a long time. Still love to read. But she stopped reading so many books and get still and quiet and let the Spirit teach you. She would get still and she'd say, Lord, teach me what you want me to know. That's humility, isn't it? That's humility. That's saying, I don't have all the answers. Nobody does. I sometimes don't know what to do. Lord, you teach me. That's humility. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Because then you're going to be guided. You're going to experience blessings in your life. Things are going to happen you could never plan. And you're going to have great blessings all around you. We could go more into that, but another time. Number 2, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. What? One interpretation that I don't think is the right interpretation, unless it helps somebody, that sickness, death, accidents, all that, blessed are you if you're sick, blessed are you who loses somebody and all that, like it's a blessing, like God is somehow causing it as a blessing. I don't go for that. I don't believe that's what he meant. I think it's deeper than that. Yes, you'll be comforted when a loved one dies. You'll be comforted. There's peace. There's comfort when someone passes. There's going to be comfort. Blessed are they who mourn. You're going to be comforted. You lose a job, something else is going to unfold for you. There will be comfort. There will be restoration. Some problem happens in your life. There's some kind of so-called loss. There's going to be something that's going to bring you comfort. Now let's go deeper. Blessed are those who mourn. A deep sadness because you long to be who you really are. A longing for God. A longing for unity, for oneness, for that inner joy of spirit that's there. There's something in you, like when I was at that time when my girlfriend brought me that book, Be Happy Attitudes, not the other book on relationship and communication. And, there was that anguishing monotony that I felt about life. Like there's got to be more to life than this. That's that longing. Blessed are they who mourn, because what happened? Now you're searching. Now you're starting to find something deeper for yourself. You're looking for more, and guess what? Knock and ye shall find. Knock and ye shall find. Oh, I had some affirmations I wanted to share with you too. Back to so blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Part of this, too, is when you have challenges in your life. None of us have challenges, do we? There are no challenges in our life. But if you were to have some challenges in your life, guess what? We learn and grow from that, don't we? We become stronger. We learn stuff. We develop ourselves. We expand. Blessed are they who mourn. Blessed are they who have challenges in their life. Because you're going to grow. Now, a lot of us, we might not even grow if we didn't have any challenges. We might just sort of, complacent, drift off into the subconscious and do nothing. Challenges sort of get us moving. Prime the pump. Shakespeare said, sweet are the uses of adversity, which like the toad, ugly and venomous, wears a precious jewel in his head. Blessed are they who mourn, for they will grow. They will awaken. Good affirmation for that. I am grateful for challenges that lead me beyond my extremity to God's opportunity. I am grateful for challenges that lead me beyond my extremity to God's opportunity. Want to join me in doing that together? I am grateful for challenges that lead me beyond my extremity to God's opportunity. Number 3, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are the meek. Again, that's one of those, blessed are the meek. Looks like the aggressive are the ones who are trying to take over the earth. You know, the aggressive people who are the ones who are going out and getting what they want, right? Well, again, it's not talking about being a doormat. This is not telling you and me to be meek and mild. You know, I don't want to occupy any space, and I don't want to offend anyone. I just want to be nice, and I don't want to be not nice, and I'll just do what everyone wants me to do. And no, that's not what he's saying. He's not saying be a doormat. He's not saying be a doormat. Jesus wasn't always nice. Somebody wanted him to heal this lady, and he wouldn't do it. I don't know why, but he just wasn't going to do it. When he went into the temple and turned over the tables of the money changers and drove them out with a whip of cords, that wasn't nice, was it? That wasn't nice. What's wrong with Jesus today? He wasn't nice all the time. Jesus' mother. Jesus, we need wine. He's like, not yet. Not yet. He knew how to say no. Of course, she was persuasive. He changed his mind. But Jesus wasn't always nice. Blessed are the meek. It doesn't mean that you're going to be meek and mild with people. Mother Teresa wasn't nice. How many know she was loving? Of course she was loving. She took care of the people dying. She was working with people in the streets and living the way they lived. In fact, she came to the United States, and they remodeled this house for her and her nuns and put down carpet and this and that. She went in, she said, this place is too nice. We can't minister to the poor and live like this. She had them tear up all the carpets and make the place less luxurious, because that was her thing. So, we're not talking about being meek and mild and always, We're talking about being meek toward God. Talking about being receptive to spirit within you. Meek toward God. The word meek comes from the Greek praise, which means to tame. To tame unrestrained, wild power. We're talking about to tame the power of God expressing in and through and as you. That's what we're talking about. Blessed are the meek. The person who is opening up to that power within. Mother Teresa was not nice, but she was meek. She was receptive to that power of God within her. That's why she could walk in and say, I need money for my places. I need money for my places to take care of these people. That's why she could deal with people in those situations, because she had the power of God working inside of her. She had allowed that power. Eric Butterworth talks about Niagara Falls was wild, unrestrained energy going over those falls for millions of years until they started to harness it, to tame that power into generators to create electricity. And therefore, it inherited the earth, Niagara Falls, because it was channeled. You and I can channel that energy, that power, that intelligence inside of us. You can be meek toward God in your life. You can get great ideas that way too, right? Albert Einstein said that sometimes when he would let go, the ideas would come. You can get ideas that can change your life. Ideas for a relationship, ideas for making money, ideas for a job, ideas for your acting, for music, for creativity, for your sport, whatever it is that you're involved in. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. When you're an instrument, a channel, a vehicle through which you are receptive to the divine flow inside of you, you can receive ideas to help you. Tenor Roland Hayes used to stand in front of an audience and get real quiet. And someone asked him, what are you doing when you do that before you sing? He was a tenor. He said, I just get quiet and receptive and say, oh Lord, blot out Roland Hayes, that the people hear only thee. Wow. I am in tune with God. That which is God-inspired and God-directed shall prevail. I am in tune with God. Together. I am in tune with God. That which is God-inspired and God-directed shall prevail. Together. That which is God-inspired and God-directed shall prevail. Number 4, blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. I remember loving that verse. How many of you are longing for that deeper connection with Spirit, with yourself? How many of you are longing to be free of all this mishigas that goes inside your mind, this crazy mind that is whining and complaining and upset about this and upset about that, and you just want to live in peace and joy and love and be happy and enjoy your life? How many of you want to have that experience? Say amen. Amen. Of course you do. Blessed are you for hungering for that, because you will be fulfilled. You will be fulfilled. There's God right now calling, saying, answer the call. Answer the call. Blessed are those of you who answer the call and seek first the kingdom of God, for all these things will be added unto you. Hunger and thirst. This student came to his teacher and he said, oh, I want to know myself. I want to wake up to Spirit within me. And the teacher said, I want you to come with me. And so they went to a river, and the teacher grabbed the student and put his head under the water. And then, after a while, bubbles start coming up, and he pulled the student up. The student's like, oh! And the teacher said, what did you want more than anything just a moment ago? Air. I wanted air. He said, when you want God that much, you will be fulfilled. You got to hunger. You got to be hungry, as Les Brown used to say. You got to be hungry. Hungry. You got to have the commitment. This is not a once a week kind of thing. This is not when I feel spiritual, I'm going to be spiritual. No, this is every moment of every day. Every moment of every day, we've got that little whiny brat inside of there that we got to deal with. That little baby that's in there. It's too hot. He's talking too long about this. Every moment you got to wake up and remind yourself, get behind thee, Satan. You got to get in there and you got to remember who you are. I'm consciousness. I'm not this. That's not who you are. So, hunger and thirst. Jesus said, seek and ye shall find when you search for me with all of your heart. I seek with all my mind and heart, and I shall find. I seek with all my mind and heart, and I shall find. Together, I seek with all my mind and heart, and I shall find. Number 5, blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. That doesn't mean that when you're like Mother Teresa, you're going to die and God's going to be up there somewhere and He's going to open up His mansion and say, come on in. Welcome to my mansion. No, that's not what He's going to do. That's not going to happen like that. You're not going to see some guy dressed in all nines up there. No. Blessed are the pure in heart. What does that mean? That means we got a lot of junk in here that keeps popping up. It pops up. It's, I don't like this, I don't like that, I want this, I want that, I want everything to be the way I need it to be in order for me to be happy. I want you to do this, I want you to read that book on communication and relationships, I want you to blah, 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 I want you to treat me this way, I want you to practice the 5 love languages. That's not my love language, this is my love language. You know, all that stuff. Wanting everything to be the way we want it to be so we can be happy. Well, good luck on that one. That's all I can say. Good luck on that. And then we have memories that come up into our head. Something that happened 30 years ago. You know, somebody who's divorced and they're still thinking about that bum and the way he was and what an idiot. And, you know, they're still not divorced. They're still in their brain having a relationship with this person who they divorced 40 years ago. All this stuff comes up. And we're wondering, well, I don't know why I'm not feeling spirit. I don't, why aren't I in joy all the time? Because you are still living with this man you left 25 years ago. You got this stuff coming up. So when we start to heal ourselves and to let this stuff go, guess what? Blessed are the pure in heart. The more we let this stuff go, the purer that flow, that stream inside of us. We start to find ourselves being happier. We start to find ourselves living more in joy. We start to find ourselves freer. That's what it means. Blessed and pure in heart. So you will see God. Not only will you feel it, but you'll start to see more good in the world and people around you. You start to appreciate things around you. One of my joys lately, last few weeks, I got a baby pigeon out on my, it's not porch, whatever you call that outside your window. The ledge, yeah, a little baby pigeon. And the mom, whenever the mom comes around, that little baby goes crazy. Cheep, 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 cheep. And I love it. It makes me smile. You know, you sitting at the desk and all of a sudden, cheep, 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 cheep. That's life. We start to see good around us. Shakespeare said that you start to find tongues in trees. That's kind of a weird thing to find in a tree, isn't it? A tongue in a tree. Now, I'll finish the sentence. Finds tongues in trees, books in running brooks, sermons in stones, and good in everything. In other words, when you're in tune with that flow and that source, you can hear things from the tree. You can see ideas in the stream and the mountains and the rivers. You just start to get a flow of inspiration wherever you are. Number 6. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. To be a son of God or a daughter of God, first of all, means to wake up to your spiritual essence. It's not about whether you're male or female. It's about waking up to your spiritual nature. That's what it means to be a son of God. And ultimately, the only way we're ever going to have peace is when we are peaceful. Right? When you and I are filled with peace, then we're going to have peace on earth. That's the only way. It's not going to come from peace treaties. It's not going to come from negotiations. All that stuff is going to help. But peace is one person at a time. isn't it? As you and I become peaceful. How can we expect the world to be peaceful if we're full of chaos in our own household? Right? If our household, this household, is not peaceful, and then our household where we live with the people we interact with, if that's not peaceful, how do we expect countries to be peaceful together? That doesn't make sense, does it? Blessed are the peacemakers, those of you and me who discover peace within our being, who become peaceful. And you know what can happen? They talk about the quantum shift. When you reach enough people who are peaceful, there's a shift. You might remember the 100th monkey idea, right? That's the idea that there were these islands, and monkeys on all the islands, and on one of the islands, the monkeys started to wash their sweet potatoes. And they didn't communicate with the other monkeys. And all of a sudden, the monkeys on the other island started to wash their sweet potatoes. Why? The idea was in consciousness. There was a shift in this group of monkeys, and then there was a shift in the others who had no connection with each other. So as you and I wake up, we contribute to the waking up of the planet. I am a child of God, and I act like one. Would you join me in that? Together? I'm a child of God, and I act like one. I am a radiating center of peace and love. Together? I am a radiating center of peace and love. And then the last two Beatitudes we're going to combine. 7 and 8. Blessed are they that have been persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall reproach you and persecute you, and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets that were before you. So the wonderful thing about Scripture is there's a message for you wherever you are, and whatever time you live in. So when Jesus was walking the planet, people were really being persecuted for practicing their teachings and their faith. And today, in our world today, when you speak the truth, sometimes you're persecuted, right? Sometimes you lose friends. Sometimes you get in hot water because you were honest about something, or you spoke up. That happens. But your karma's good. You know, you're contributing to your soul's growth and your own integrity, aren't you? When you do what is the right thing for you to do. And when you don't, you know it inside. When you don't do the right thing, it eats at you, doesn't it? I don't know how people live certain ways and can look in the mirror and actually feel joy and happiness when they're doing things that are harmful to other people. So there's that level, but there's a deeper level. And the deeper level is inner persecution that happens as we grow spiritually. That when you sincerely want to grow spiritually, there can be a real inner struggle. It's hard work. I mean, it's rewarding, but it's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's not easy to face those things that come up inside. It's not easy when you're wanting to be some way, but there's a part of you that doesn't want to be that way. You want to change a habit, and that habit is got a hold of you. You want to be kind and generous and whatever, but there's another part of you that's afraid and doesn't want to. You know, it's a challenge. That's an inner persecution that's going on. But blessed are you for that. Why? Because it means you care. It means you're committed to your growth. If you don't care, if you don't have any sense of wanting to be better or do better, you're not going to care. Right? There are a lot of unconscious people walking around hurting people adding negativity to the planet without even recognizing it. They're just unconscious. But when you care and you are conscious, it can be a struggle. It can be a struggle. But the good news is, the more you stick with it, the more you keep on keeping on, the easier it gets. The more you learn how to deal with yourself and how to deal with your humanness and how to negotiate with yourself, the easier it gets, the less persecution that you experience. Of course, there's other levels and deeper levels that come up. Start with the little things. Start with the little things. What are the little things we complain about or whatever? Deal with that. Try to raise yourself in that situation. And then more and more deeper stuff comes up to be healed. So that's a deeper understanding of the persecution. Learning that it's something that happens within you, but there is a power inside of you, which is you. You, as consciousness, are that transcendent power. You, as consciousness, are on a higher frequency, a higher vibration than any thought, feeling, memory, pattern that comes up inside of you. That's important to realize. That's the most important thing to recognize, is that you've got these blockages inside of you that are blocking you from the inner happiness that you desire, but that you, as consciousness, are transcend all of that. And I love the verse in the New Testament, greater is he that is within you than he that is in the world. If you want to replace the word he to she or whatever, feel free. Greater is he that is within you than he that is in the world. Let us personalize that, knowing that greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world. Together, greater is he that is within me than he that is in the world. And so it is. Let's get still. And we acknowledge, Spirit, this wonderful sermon from Jesus and all these transforming ideas. And we are meek, meaning we are teachable. We're receptive. We're receptive to your presence. We're receptive to being guided and directed. And we're open to being healed at depth. Thank you for revealing to us that which we need to know. So that we feel your peace, which we understand is the peace of our own being. Thank you for your strength that helps us to keep on keeping on. So that when mourning happens in our life, mourning through the passing of loved ones, mourning from challenges that are in our life, that we can recognize the opportunity in these challenges. The opportunity to grow in faith, the opportunity to expand in our consciousness, to be able to be cheerful no matter what's going on, to be able to choose a positive attitude, to let our mind know that we're the one in charge, not our old patterns, not our own thoughts. I'm in charge, and I can handle whatever comes my way. I can handle this. And we thank you, Father, Mother, God, for your presence and activity, that we might be blessed prosperous, strong, successful, and very, very joyful in your spirit. And so it is. Amen.